So welcome, Rebecca. Thank you
Thanks
so much. Yeah, thanks for joining the channel today. So Rebecca is the author of a new book, and she's going to talk to us today about networking and really the steps we need to take to build our careers. So I was wondering if first you could just introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background, and tell us what led you to write this book.
Yes, thanks, Olivia. So yes, I'm Rebecca Leader. I'm the author of an upcoming book called Knock, How to Open Doors and Build Career Relationships That Matter. It's based on my 5-step methodology for building high quality, so mutually beneficial career relationships, which could be with a manager, with a mentor, with a colleague, with a hiring manager, or even with a customer or a client. And this is something I've been working on for about 6 years. So the knock method is the 5 steps, and the book is based on that. The idea is when you intentionally knock on others' doors, when you connect in a meaningful way, highlighting value, highlighting the impact you can have together, and focusing on the other individual, that opportunities will knock for all of us. And all of our career networks and professional networks will increase in quality, which means that they're not just about getting a favor, they are compounding and they can continue to give to those relationships over time. So I also am a manager at Salesforce, where I help our customers make the best use of their investment with our technology, and my whole career has been marketing, and really at the root of it is developing relationships and creating community. So I'm really excited to be here, and I have a really huge passion for helping others, especially students and emerging professionals, learn how to connect in a meaningful way for their careers. And I live in Denver, Colorado, where I get to enjoy the mountains and the sunshine, and I love cooking and entertaining and dabble in a little bit of yoga and hiking.
That's awesome. I loved also hearing like the personal aspect, like who you are as a person, not just like, oh, this is, what I write. That's pretty cool. So my first big question, are you able to share with us the steps of the knock method?
Yes, for a while they were a little more secretive and you could only get them in a workshop or the book, which is now coming out. So I'm happy to share those here today. And of course, the workshops in the book go into a lot more detail about why they're important, the psychology research behind how they work and the impact that they make, not just for our careers, but also for our health, our physical health and our mental health as well too. And also some resources and tips on how to put it in practice. So the 5 steps, the first letter of each of the steps spells the first letter of the word knock. So the first step is for K. It is know your topic, your contact, and bring specifics up front. And I like to say for this step, prepare to connect. So personally, I feel, and I also have seen in my experience, that when we are researching not just opportunities, but also individuals, not in a creepy way, but we're really getting to know someone's world. Where do they work? What do they like to do? Can a mutual contact tell me more about their personality before we meet? Things like that. So how do we prepare ourselves to connect? This also includes how to prepare our personal brand. So preparing to connect means gathering data and preparing our talking points in a way that's meaningful to the other person. The next step is for N, and it's not about me. So there is a social psychology term known as other-centeredness, and this is simply thinking of others and shifting the focus off of yourself. Even if you're looking for a job, even if you feel that you have something in mind that someone else might be able to provide for you, how can you do that research and surface to the forefront how you could help each other and what that value would be for the other person? How can you ensure that it's going to be worth their time to meet with you and let them know that you're aware of all of these things that they've done in their career. You're also interested in that career path, or you have things in common, and therefore you know the time is going to be well spent. So it's easier for them to prioritize that time, and you're more open to discovering ways you can help each other rather than just simply achieving that, what we would call a transactional goal. And the third step is for O, which is own it. And this is about authenticity and investment. So this is authenticity, which is, you touched on in the beginning, you like hearing about others' lifestyles as well, and not just what they do professionally. Same thing in business. How can we share additional layers of who we are, whether it's through our elevator pitch or when we introduce ourselves on the beginning of a Zoom call, so that others can connect with us and they're more willing to be more open as well. Investment is part of this step too, and that's about putting the work in up front. So this is about, have you looked at a company's website before you apply? Have you tried their product? Could you sample it? Could you sign up for a free demo? Have you bought someone's book or read their free sample on Kindle before you reached out to talk to them? Have you looked at their social media to see what they've been up to see if that's even a good time to reach out? Maybe they're busy, maybe they're on vacation. So investment is putting the time in a relationship with someone else upfront. Fourth step is commonality. I already referenced it earlier. And through your research or through just how you might know an individual or a group or a team or a company, ideally you can surface at least 2 to 3 points of commonality, which helps make the conversation much more personal, much more familiar, and less like a cold call. And lastly, the last K is for keep giving, practice generosity and gratitude. And of course, we're all in a place where we all need help to get where we're going, but we can always be in a place to be helping others as well. Even if you're meeting with someone who has decades more experience than you can still offer to help. You can still share their article or recommend, their class or their book or something that they do. You can share something that they're posting on LinkedIn, for example. So how can we be giving to our network? And then also, of course, always following up with a thank you and making sure that if someone makes an introduction for us, that we're thanking them and also following through.
Wow, that's all such good information. And I feel like it's not always focused on or taught in school. It's just like, okay, you're about to graduate, good luck applying, but there's this whole relationship building aspect. You need to do the research, etc. So that's really awesome. I'm glad you wrote this book and informing us about all these steps we should actually be taking. I love how even in this interview, you're discussing ways that, as a person, like maybe reaching out to a mentor or someone who's in the field, that we can add value to them as well. Because I feel like that's always the intimidating part, is like, I don't have much experience. I don't really know what I can add. But even like you said, sharing their article or, broadening their network, telling people about them, that's great to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something where we tend to get doubtful in our minds and we don't necessarily feel like the confidence is there. And in my experience and putting the knock method into practice extensively, I would say putting in that research, but then surfacing that research. So, letting people know why you're reaching out to them in particular, and that you're not just emailing 15 or 20 or 25 people. Ideally, if you're doing this on a quality level, it's at a smaller rate because it's that much more important and it's going to add value for them too. And so I think if we show that we've done the research and that, their work is important to us for XYZ reasons, and we've spent time getting to know them and getting to know their work even before we connect, I think that is really highlighting the value for someone as why it would be worth meeting someone. It's kind of like, they don't have to be famous, but it's kind of like, potentially a celebrity wanting to meet fans, because the fans have put in so much time and energy in their work and they've been supporters. So I think, also people want to share what their career path was like. They want to give back and give forward, and hopefully someone's done it for them in their career path. So you can always share ideas. It doesn't matter what level you're at.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you think that students or grad students should especially know or keep in mind when it comes to the knock method and networking and professionalism, etc.?
Sure. I think one thing that's been coming up a lot in the workshops that I teach recently is that it's okay to be personal, and we should be personal in professional relationships. Of course, we want to be appropriate. But one thing people felt very surprised by was that in a professional situation that someone would be interested in what they do with their free time or some element of their life that has nothing to do with work. And in fact, that can be used as an added value. It can be used as a differentiation point in interviews, in your elevator pitch, so that you're not just a project manager, or you're not just a marketer, you're a marketer who loves solving problems, or you're a marketer who loves exploring and curiosity, and therefore the design element is really interesting to you, right? So bring those things to the forefront and don't be afraid to share some personal details, because that might be something where someone else will have that in common with you.
Personal conversations are always so much more fun too. So it'd be great to, get that commonality with someone. So you mentioned that your book is on pre-sale and you offer workshops. So if people are interested in learning more about you and about your book, where can they go to find this information?
Yes, so all the information is on my website, theknockmethod.com. And as you mentioned, Knock is available for pre-sale now. The official publication date is March 30th, but get your order in early. And I think we'll have a special discount code for Olivia's viewers, so we'll pass that along as well. And we just launched a monthly series of casual yet virtual gatherings. They're called Knock Neighborhood Nights. And it's a place where you can get your questions answered. You can bring situations like, I'm meeting with an employer next week, I'm really nervous about it. How can I better prepare? Or, I have an interview and I've done all this research, but I'm having a hard time distilling it into an elevator pitch. Whatever that may be, you can bring that to the group, and it will also be a place where you can bring your career needs, and the group will provide their career solutions, and we'll all be contributing to the group. So it's definitely not just a webinar that you listen to. It is led by the group. And so whatever is on your mind with career connections each month, you can bring to the group and come out of it with new contacts in your professional network. So if you're finding difficulty in networking, especially in this virtual world, we invite you to join our Knock Neighborhood Nights. And if it takes off, which hopefully it will, we may even break off into for students, for job seekers, for established professionals or emerging leaders, et cetera. So we invite you to join, and really just creating our community of intentional career relationship builders.
I love that. That sounds like such a great group and community to belong to. And I like what you just said. It's an intentional relationship that we're trying to build. You mentioned several times, that quality aspect rather than that quantity aspect. So that's great. So all of that information will be in the description box below. So you guys can find all of that, as well as Rebecca's Instagram as well, which you just followed me earlier, and I was looking at it too, and it's such great information. And again, a lot about having compassion and gratitude in the workplace, which are things that I don't usually connect. So I will put that resource down below as well. But thank you so much for your time, Rebecca. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I think everyone will find it very helpful.
Absolutely. I hope this is just the first conversation of many. I'd love to stay connected.
We will see you again next time.
Sounds good.